not. You better treasure it because you may not ever hear it from the lips. Maybe this will be all you'll ever hear or something.
Well, here I am again. I just listened to myself talking. It sounded pretty bad, but maybe you can get enough of it together to understand what we meant. So we still ain't got nothing to say much. We're going to church now, and so we'll be a listening for you to answer it back. So take care of yourself, and you all be good, and tell Mr. Davis that we think of him all the time and hope that he continues to improve. So we'll say good night.
Well, this is Bobby again. I think Mother's going to take this side B and take it over to her house, and she's got a little cassette, and I think she's going to record for the rest of the tape. But anyway, we had fun doing this, and I hope you enjoyed listening to it. And it was your folks. So.
And did you go to church today? You should have. Or have you ever found one over there? And Carrie, come here and tell him something. You talk a little and I'll talk a little.
Is it all for me? Hello, son. It seemed like I want to put it up to my ear to see if you're talking back to me. We just went out for a little ride with Bobby and Julie and Ivy. Went out to Gaborone and fed the ducks. They had some stale bread. Counted about 17, but they kept coming out of the woods, so I know there was even more than that. And while we were there, several cars pulled up, and one of them was an old friend of Dad's, and he recognized him. The man said he couldn't see too good, and they had a little conversation about old school days and old times, and it was Uncle Tim's. Was it his uncle? It was Tim's nephew, and he was a smith, and they were boys together, went to school together, and then his brother's wife and her daughter were, I've got it on, were with them, and so it was a pretty day. The sun was shining, and it didn't even have to put a sweater on. Then we rode all up in the hills and looked at the beautiful homes, and then all the way around to the scenic highway and come on back to the house. And it was a nice little ride. I wish I could see you. Got your letter, and always glad to hear from you. I don't know. Wait a minute. That's Ivy. She's gonna help me tape. I don't know any special news to tell you. I believe everybody's pretty good. And, well, I better let Dad talk a little more.
Well, I ain't much to talk when I can't see who I'm talking to.
When you don't answer me back.
I'd like you to answer me back.
That's what I keep saying.
We just had about 3 days freeze here. We thought it killed all the azaleas, that is the blooms, but they all hadn't bloomed, and they come back more now. I don't eat it. And so it's still pretty out there. My mashed potatoes about knee high. Some of them bit them down, but I trimmed them off. They're still green, the bottom part of them, so they say it won't hurt them. And as we went over to Scenic Highway, there's some pretty homes, and the azaleas are beautiful out there in them swamps. I've been a fishing 2 or 3 times, but I haven't caught any fish. And so
Cut the thing off.
cut it off for you.
I just tell you, this was unexpected to me, and if I'd wrote it all down, I might have known I could have read it off. It's not not like you tape some that. It's not like you had that one on one you sent Sister. I can tell you that now, and because we just not that type of people that we know how to tape. They said it seemed like that he ought to put it to his ear and listen for you to answer him back. But anyway, maybe you'll hear our voice and recognize it, and maybe that maybe it'll feel like you might have had a little short visit with us. And Sister's folks are well, except Thumper. He's got a bad cold, and come over here this morning and told me he had encephalitis, and he might give it to us. He was kidding us, because he'd been out there to visit a boy in the hospital, Sherberg's brother, and said the doctor says that's what he's got. He's been out there for weeks and weeks, and he never spoke a word. And he's in bad shape. He's only 20 years old. And several people has the flu, a few all along, but not an outbreak of it. And, well, I better let Bobby say something. I'm running out of something to say. Here, Bobby, come on, say something. Got an hour? Well, I'll never fill in that hour. How's the weather over there? Do you ever get out? Daddy wanted you to go to church. I said you couldn't understand German. But why don't you start a little Sunday school there in the chapel, down there where you work, I mean, just for the military in there. In my Sunday school class today, there's a woman, works for a real estate company, and she says, you know, Ellison closed the government closed Ellison Field and to the choppers, but they say they'll bring 1,100 men and their families want to get homes either to buy or rent for their families and bring them here. And then there's going to be more men. They think there was going to be a lot cut off at the Navy Yard, but she says, no, they're going to add some more down there. But anyway, groceries are high here. It takes just about twice as much. Every time Daddy goes to the store, groceries have gone up. And we're going to get a raise in our Social Security. I believe our next check will have a 7% raise, and then in July it'll be a 4%. But I don't know whether that'll take care of these higher prices in groceries or not, because water, lights, telephone, and everything has gone up. And so all the salaries has gone up. It ain't gonna hurt them, the ones that's making big money anyway. But us, only on a budget, it's gonna hurt us. And let me see if I can think of something else.
Well, we sure miss you all being gone. We haven't been out to your place yet. We want to catch it when we can meet Mark out there and kind of rake around, for I'm afraid that straw's so thick it's going to cause, if anybody sets it on fire, if I'd burn up something. But he has been kind of sick, and I don't know. I told him to let me know when he could go out there on the weekends, but he hadn't let me know yet. So we're going to figure on going out there as soon as we can. And let's see. Talk is pretty scarce when you're not answering me back. So I'm waiting to figure up something.
Dave says he runs out of something to say, and this is the first experience we've ever had with taping, so maybe next time. He did this unexpectedly. I thought it was a Kodak he had. And maybe we'll learn, and we'll write down a few things that we might like to, let you know. And there's a lot of these old-timers out at the Navy Yard, colonels and all like that. You might have known some of them. They were retired, some, and all this. A lot of them have died. There's funerals out there, 3 and 4, maybe a more a day. So I imagine there'll be a big change out there when you get back. And I wrote you about Steller's great-great-grandbaby dying, didn't I? And then we didn't go to Cack's funeral. We just went to the funeral parlor on Sunday afternoon because Daddy didn't want to get in a line of traffic, but Ada's been to see us, and she sure did appreciate that card. She said the card was nice, but what you said on it is what made her feel good. And her granddaughter's still here with her and working here. I imagine she's trying to get enough money to buy gas to get back to California. She said she'd stay about 2 months. And I better not say what I started to say. I started to say she wasn't a very pretty girl, but she's sweet. She seemed to be a nice girl. Betty Jo asked about you, and she's same old Betty Jo. She's got 2 nice boys, but she didn't bring them to the funeral. They were in school. And Betty Jo don't work anymore. She used to teach school, but they bought a house, and seemed to me like there's 2-3 acres to it. Said she was going to farm this summer. Said she was going to plant it every bit in something, and she likes to can things. We never did think Betty Jo would ever do such as that, but we give her a lot of pears when she was here, and she went back and put them up, and she bought peas while she was here, like they used to go out on, people would say you could go out and pick peas for so much a pound. She picked a lot of them and put them up. And you'd just be surprised how she likes such as that. Now, Pee-wee doesn't like anything like that. Is it about run out? My goodness, maybe I'm talking in the air. It ain't run out yet, but I am. I don't know what else to tell you that I ain't already wrote to you. Oh, let me see. What, huh? And your mother got the tape from him, and she called us over there and played it for us. I don't think he did. If he did, Bobby said, did you ask us a question on that other tape to answer him back? But if he did, I forgot it. We're doing pretty good. Daddy keeps the yards raked and goes out there in the garden and piddles around. I don't know what he'll do when he gets something growing out there. I don't believe there's going to be any pears this year, and unless they bloom again, they're not going to be any. I don't see any on there. The pecan trees haven't budded out yet, so I guess there's still some cold weather coming. The dogwoods are popping open, and they're going to be pretty. But we lost them last year. There was a bug, a beetle, I believe they call it, got in the stems and eat all the inside of the out. And some of the smaller limbs died, but I believe we're going to have two nice blooming trees anyway. Well, Daddy went, he calls it fishing. I call it boat riding. Last Thursday, they came back with 2 fish. He caught one and the other man caught one. And that's about the luck he has every time. And that one man, he said, passed him, and he said, well, he didn't get any fish, but he got 2 nibbles. And the water is muddy. It's been muddy all the year. I don't know what's causing it. But anyway, this man, I think he just likes to, he doesn't work that day, and I think he just likes to go up there just to get out of town, pass the time away. Well, let me turn it over to Daddy.
Well, Daddy ain't got nothing to tell. It's interesting. I'm trying to think, but my mind goes blank on me. And we just here fooling around, trying to kill time. And Carrie stays in the house all the time, and I get outside and rake leaves and piddle around. And she's scared she'll get cold. And well, let's see. What can I talk about? Tell me something other to say.
You don't hold it up close enough.
Well, I'm talking loud.
Part of it, it's going to be gone. Several of those houses.
Well, they're tearing down a lot of the old houses around town here, and on into Denton Street. There's a few there they're keeping and want to try to reserve them and have something to think about. And Let's see, I don't know what's they've tore down since you was here, but it's quite a few. And it's, they're going to build some.
Down there on Lincoln Energy Street, don't you remember that there was a plan that they were going to preserve some of those old houses, and then some of those old houses that were absolutely no good, they were going to tear those down and build those townhouses, but they were going to build them to fit into their architectural.
They're going to try to build in some townhouses, that's what they call them, and try to keep the old dilapidated ones. And they had some pictures in the paper, some that they're reserving that some of them are over 100 years old.
Well, next door to where y'all live, where Miss Golden lived, or something?
Well, everybody seems to be getting along pretty good. Roscoe had a light stroke, but I think he pulled through it. But Vicky and her husband, they're separated. And I think she got her eye on another man. And, but he knows who she is. It's Inez's granddaughter, you know. And let's see. You have to be here to tell me what does help me talk. I can't talk.
Laurie and her husband down at Foley.
Well, you know where Roscoe lives, and there was Laurie and her husband down there on the bay at Foley. And I don't know why they went so far off down there, but they're renting their home out there at where's that house? Where their home? Huh?
John Carroll Drive, where it is.
Well, you know where it is, I think, anyway.
Davis and 9th Avenue.
And between Davis and 9th Avenue, they got it rented for $100 and something a month. And they have to use that for doctor bills, they said. And so
Switched it over to me again, and I told you about Cat dying, and Ada, she thinks she's, doing pretty good, but she said she wasn't going to make no move for a year, but I think she's kind of planning on this, that, and the other, what she might do. And is that about run out? And so one day she asked Murdy, said, Murdy, would you be willing to sell your house? She said, yes. Well, she said, I've been thinking about when I sell my place, you all sell that one, and we'll build a big duplex house, and you live on one side and me on the other, and said each one of us can do it'll be just like living in a separate house, and said, yet if anything happens to Scott, then me and you will be there together. But I don't know whether that's just thoughts or whether one day they might do this. But anyway, Scott's doing fine from his operation. He worries Murdy. He's not supposed to stoop, but he'll drop something and stoop down to pick it up, and I think Murdy thinks his eyeballs will fall out or something, the retina or something. And but he stood the operation fine, and so Aunt Ola and Aunt Katie, they're both still their minds terrible, and anyway, they're both at home, and they have somebody to take care of them around night and day both. And neither one of them don't know anything, and it's pitiful. But nevertheless, well, there ain't nothing we can do about it, but just visit them once in a while, and Ola's mine ain't long enough for nothing. And me and Daddy went out there the other day, and I went on in there in the room, and after a while Oscar come to the door. She said, I didn't know you was here, and then by that time it's done gone. But they're faithful, and to stay with her, and they won't put her in a rest home. In fact, I don't think they'd keep her in a rest home. She's too miserable night and day. She's just up and down. Robert, you want to say something over this here tape thing? How come? I was going to give Robert a chance to use up some of this time. And he said, no, he thanked me. Well, son, I know we've made a mess out of it, but this is our first time, so I reckon you'll have to excuse us, 'cause it seemed like if you was here to say something to us, we'd know how to answer you back, and we can't do it. We have to carry on the conversation. So I'm about run out. Have you thought of something you wanted to tell him? I was going to give it back to Daddy, but he said he ain't thought of nothing. And this just like us. This is me and Dad. And but we still go to church and go to all the services, and we've got a elderly, I don't know what you call it now, but the retired people have got us a club down there now, and we're going to take the church buses, and we're going over to Mobile and see the Azalea Gardens, or you know, places like down to Camp Ada, they call it, or different places. We're going to, they're going to take us, have a driver and take the old people, and we'll eat out when we go down there. So I think it'll be recreation for the old people. We had a Valentine party, and had a big supper and games, so we enjoyed that. So they're taking care of the old folks down there too, as well as the young. And I'll clear if I can think of anything else. How about you?
Sister and Robert just come in, and so we're all here now. Anything, all this year's, huh? I thought it was cut off, but it ain't. All this year you hear, it's us. Whether it's good or bad. So we'll try to do better some of these days when we can think about something to say. Seems like I want to see who I'm talking to, and I can't even hear you. Well, are you hearing us all right? We're saying something now and then, and be a lot of skips in it, I reckon, but it's sort of like the Watergate. They claim that there's skips in there talking. So you'll have something to remember old folks by. So we had a lot of fun in trying to say something or other, but it may not be so funny to you all, but don't let nobody else hear it when you play it. And is Mr. Davis getting along all right? He ought to feel better after that operation if it's healed up all right. Does his mind seem to be better? And does he quit being homesick? Mr. Ammon Davis was down here, I believe it was last week. He come to the doctor, but I don't know that the doctor he come to see had an accident and broke his pelvis bone, so I don't know if he had to go out and get another one, I imagine. So we just talking as we think, and I do more thinking we do talking. So
Well, we had a little trouble with the tape recorder. Somebody had pulled the plug pulled it out of the wall. So Bobby had to go back and see where we'd left off at. So we might be repeating some of this. I don't know. But Daddy said it didn't sound like him. He played a little of it back, but he said maybe you'd think it did. We got some new ambulances here in the city, $20,000 apiece. We got 3 or 4. Four. We had one, so we bought 3 more. And
4 more. They went to get 4 more, they said.
I thought it was 3. Yeah, Daddy thinks they bought 4 more, but they're either 3 or 4. But anyway, we haven't heard from Mark and Debbie in about 2 weeks. Every time I see an ambulance, I think of Mark, because he used to drive one. But I don't ever know when to call them, because she works and he works, and I know they have to have supper when they get home. But I want to see if I can't catch them there sometime and see how everybody is. And I imagine those little suits you bought's going to look cute on him, because you all just about, he don't grow much. He may get a little taller, but I don't believe he gets a bit heavier. Dad says he don't get any taller. But he is cute. He's just cute and pretty as he can be. And, Bobby had stooped over. He told me to look at Bobby's crack. Maybe you already heard that. Uh-huh. It got recorded. Uh-huh. he had on a sweater or a sweatshirt or something, and it pulled up. Oh, where's the baby? That's what she likes, to get outside. Over at Bobby's, they worked in the yard yesterday with their flowers, planting flowers, and it was a warm day, so they took the baby out in the yard, and she had a bucket and a shovel, and she shoveled sand, played all day, and somebody's little old puppies run away from home and kind of took up there. And she loves dogs and cats, so she had a time with that puppy. Well, I just tell you, I'm run out. Well, things sure are high here. Gas is going up all the time, and so far, we don't use much anyway, but it really has gone up, and then groceries are sky high. So, I don't know. Seems like though they raise the wages of the city employees and all such as that, but they haven't raised ours yet, and so, anyway, I guess we'll make it. Everybody else does. Did you get the letter I sent you with J.W.'s letter in there about Betty having her operation? I sure wish you could get to see her before she comes back, but I don't guess she will on account of the weather. And J.W. didn't know she was going to have the operation. And so, anyway, I thought I'd just send it on over there to you. You're a pretty good distance from her, aren't you? Crazy, I wait for him to answer me. Don't you know I am? Don't you know I'm nutty? Well, I ain't never... every now and then, I don't do it all the time, but every now and then I stop to see what he's going to say. You lost your mind. Let's see where's Robert today. I don't know. I see him. Here he comes through there.
You want to say something?
Hey, don't you want to say something and put something in there with some
I
sense?
will. I'll put something after.
Oh, probably how about you saying something in there?
She gets up in that chair.
Hello, Uncle Cary. This is Bobby. I was going to ask you something. If you can buy camera parts. Julie bought me a 35 millimeter camera, a Canon FTB for Christmas. And I was wondering, sometimes overseas, if you can get the attachments or lenses at a cheaper price than what you can get in the States. And what I was looking for was a zoom lens, and I was wondering if you could get a lens for this camera, if they would be cheaper over there, if they were available than what they are in the States. And if you'll write Mother and tell her, if you can, and maybe you have an idea of what they are price-wise, and see what they are here in the States, and then by the time, we would pay the import tax or whatever kind of taxes that you have on there, if it would be a lot or any cheaper than what we could do here. What I have is a Canon FTB with a 50 millimeter 1.8 lens, and I was wanting a zoom lens on there. And so the next time you write, and if they are available over there, let Mother know, and then I might have to send you some money and let you get me one if you wouldn't mind. Okay? Thank you. We were talking about the about these tapes, about how come you don't answer them back. I think it's kind of scaring them a little bit about these tapes. And, they're saying that an hour's taping is a little bit too long. They don't realize that you can turn the machine off and then come back half an hour later and put something else on there. I hope you enjoy this. Maybe it'll help pass an afternoon or some evening when you don't have anything else to do. You can put this tape on there and have a good laugh. Then it'll make you kind of wonder sometimes about these old folks. And but anyway, it's all done in fun. I hope you will enjoy it. And this was another thing that Julie bought me not too long ago, was a little cassette tape recorder, and I sure have enjoyed it. And this may be something that we should have had all along, tape part of the family, and then we would have it. Okay. Well, let's see. We're just about at the end of side one, so I think I'll just go ahead and finish on up this tape, and then we'll turn it over and play it back. They might have some comments once they hear what side A sounds like. They might want to do something a little bit different for side B, and so I'm going to play it back when we get to the end of this and let them hear what they sound like. I don't think they've ever heard themselves